Okay, y'all. This is the latest with Loren LoRosa. I am Loren LoRosa. This is episode 4. So let's get on into some things. We taking y'all to court. We doing a little court. You know what I mean? If there's a dun dun, Taylor, put that on in here. I need that. Okay, it's giving litigation right now. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was Drake. You guys know that Drake has been going back and forth with Universal Music Group over the song Not Like Us, even though he's positioning it and claiming that it's not specifically about the song, that it's more so about the fact that his label did not protect him and that they allowed another artist on the label, speaking of Kendrick Lamar, to drop Not Like Us, which Drake and team say is a very defamatory song. It's dangerous, and there's no way that this should have been supported. So now he is suing, okay? The lawsuit, there's been a lot of back and forth, but more recently, the Universal Music Group side of things said, you know what, Judge, this all is BS. Drake he doesn't honestly think that we did half of the stuff that he's claiming. He's claiming that they work with bots to make Not Like Us a bigger song than it was. He's claiming that they, paid third-party bloggers to talk about it, that they paid radio, like just a ton of different things, right, that he has claimed over some time. He's claiming everything but the song is a bop. And baby, the song is a bop. Okay, he's claiming everything but what the truth is. So in doing that, his ask was in this. I want to make sure. I hope I didn't say file suit. If I said that is not what I meant. And I think that it gets tricky there. And a lot of people, when in reporting it or talking about it, say it wrong. Because I think we're so used to like, okay, you hear defamation and then boom, it's a lawsuit. When for real, what Drake did was a smart business play. He filed a motion basically asking to be able to discover, like to look inside of Universal Music Group's, all of their internal things and figure out if what he thinks is happening is really happening, or at least enough to get enough evidence to then go back to a judge and say, hey, here's what we have, and now we're moving forward with a lawsuit. A lot of times in defamation, people will tell you like defamation is one of the hardest things to prove, because not only do you have to prove that the person in their intent was defamatory and that they meant to harm you, to make it where you can't get money, to make it where you can be harmed by what they're saying or what they're throwing on you, but also too, you have to really be able to prove loss. Like really be able to prove it. You really have to be able to prove this. So a lot of times people go right in with the lawsuit, and normally that's because they have the evidence. They understand, where they're standing legally and what they're going to lean in on. And what Drake did was, he's like, okay, here's what I think is happening. Here's my long laundry list of things that I think is happening. But I want to go in and I want to poke around a little bit, because I need to figure out, like, if I'm shooting, who's my target? I thought that was actually pretty smart. I also thought that this was smart too, because if I'm Drake, and the conversation around this was that Drake, was negotiating, renegotiating with the label and trying to do all these things. If I'm doing that and I feel like my label isn't, giving me full transparency on some stuff, the best way to get transparency about the stuff that I want, but also about me and how impactful I am at this label and in my numbers and all of that stuff, is to see what you're doing across the room to try and control my situation to back me into a corner. And in discovery, you get all of that. And there was a conversation that had come up in these legal filings about what Drake was actually requesting. It's like emails and phone logs and all that stuff. But also, more recently, some of the things that his legal team had been requesting was legal documents, including, legal documents and agreements and things, contracts in relation to Kendrick Lamar. Now, there was a pre-trial conference that happened actually earlier today. Today is Wednesday, the 2nd. Wednesday, April 2nd. Time is flying by. And Judge Jeanette Vargas actually ruled that Universal Music Group's request to stay the discovery. So basically they were like, hold up, wait. Discovery, why we gotta do all that? It's gonna cost us money. It's gonna cost us time. It makes no sense. Like, we're a huge corporation. Why do we have to do all of this? Makes it like that. Their whole thing is Drake's really upset because he lost a rap battle, and as a label, that is not our fault. We do our jobs, we promote our artists, we do what we do. But just because you lost and you're upset, we're sorry, prima donna. There's nothing we could do about that. But today, Drake actually made some pretty good leeway. Today, a judge said, and oh yeah, and I want to mention Universal Music Group did ask for this. Like when they said all that, they said, okay, and because of all that, we want this motion to be dismissed. We don't even want to have to deal with a case at all. And that is still going to be addressed in court, but we'll get there. But back to what happened today. So today, a judge said, I'm going to deny Universal Music Group's request to stay the discovery process and allow Drake to proceed with requesting access to documents, including Kendrick Lamar's contracts with the label. This is a huge win for Drake because, I mean, let's think about it. A lot of the things that Drake is claiming, I personally don't feel like it's anything, if done, right? If any of this was done, I don't personally feel like this is anything that we would find was done for the first time. Like Kendrick Lamar wouldn't have been the first artist that they did this for if they did it. So think about, that means, okay, Drake, did this help you and whoever else is on the label? So it might blow the lid off for not only Drake himself, but a lot of other artists. But this is also a big deal too, because if what Drake is claiming, you know what I mean? Like all of these allegations he's been throwing, if there is anything to it that he can find, I don't know. I mean, I think that being able to go on the inside and see conversations and things like that, that's the best way to prove it. Now, I will say that one of the reporters that was in the courtroom, it's a Twitter account that I follow. It's called Inner City Press. They actually reported that Drake's team had a back and forth with UMG, and that Drake's team decided that they were going to no longer move forward with the accusation that UMG paid bots, like these random bots, to hyping up the song online and in these different places. And they said that they did that because that was just very incremental in their lawsuit. I think their biggest thing that they're focusing on is what was said, using the word pedophile on these big stages. And then and then Universal putting money behind, allegedly, according to Drake, putting money behind, all of this, Okay, let's back big bad Drake down into a corner and use our big powerful machine to do it. That's what they want to focus on. Now, I thought that was interesting because normally when you have a case like this where there are multiple different claims, or even if it's so this is civil, right? But even if it's criminal, if I'm an attorney and for the prosecutor, right? So that's the side that's trying to get you. Like, I'm trying to sit you down if I'm a prosecutor. I'm not bringing up charges that I don't think can sustain. I'm not going to waste my time, because if a jury or whoever sees, that I'm alleging certain things and I want certain charges and they don't stick, it starts making everything else seems a little muddy. I thought that this was interesting for them to back up off of the bot thing. And they made it seem very small, very incremental, but to me, it wasn't. To me, it said to me that I don't know if Drake's team really had enough, or thought that they would have enough, or thought that it was strong enough to be able to move forward with this whole bot thing. And if you can't, because that was a big deal, because we were all like, wait, what? You think they had to pay people to tell us that song was good? To have to tell us that we needed to, Crip walk like we from the jungles? Do the Crips be in the jungles? Okay, if I just mislocated the Crips in the jungles and all of that, I'm a podcaster. I don't know much. Oh, look at me. I'm a podcaster. I don't know much about where the people be and all that, but y'all get what I'm saying. Like, you didn't have to pay for bots to get online and talk about this song for it to impact culture the way that it did. So them backing away from that, I thought was like a little telltale sign of like, okay, so here's what they think is strong and that they can prove, and here's what they're like, that was cute, and we mentioned it, and maybe it is a thing, but we not wasting our time over there. Now, what I think that this means is, I think that this means that the judge is looking at this from a perspective of like, what could it hurt? Like, if I allow for this, because if they take this to a trial of any sort anyway, discovery is going to happen, right? So I think a judge is looking at this and saying, in all fairness, what does this hurt? Like, if I allow it now, I don't care, how much money, how much time it'll cost you. If we can do this now and he can find what he's looking for or not, we don't even got to do all the other stuff. We literally can iron it out. Maybe a settlement can happen, whatever the case may be. That's how I think a judge is looking at it. Now, if I'm Universal Music Group, I'm sure that they're going to stand on we have nothing to hide, but I think it just gets a little tricky when people are going into like contract negotiations and emails and phone conversations, because you got to think about how big a record label is, right? You can't, if I'm the head of a record label, I can't guarantee that every single employee in my record label is doing what they're supposed to be doing by the book, how they're supposed to be doing it. A lot of times, because there's a lot of people involved, there's a lot of artists, there's a lot of money being, you know what I mean, moved around, and, you know, songs dropping. You're just doing your job to get your job done for the overall accomplishment. And if I'm an exec at Universal, I don't even have the time to worry about certain day-to-day things. I just got to look at the high level. And the high level of this is like, okay, the song is charting. Okay, the song is moving on TikTok. How we got there, I'm in good faith believing that my employees are doing what they need to do. One misstep here, right? You have 30 employees. If about 3 of them, maybe even 5, texting the wrong way about some things, exchanging money in a way that they might even not have known was not cool to do, to get things placed, or whatever the case may be, in the vein of just trying to get the job done, even if it was innocent, even if it was innocent. Do y'all know how that will look in Drake's favor? Now, I ain't gonna hold y'all. I don't think this is going like, you know what I mean, get him out of the not like us territory of like, okay, now some people look at you different. I really don't think that it will. I know that people are trying to make it like, okay, he's a martyr, he's sticking up for people that are behind these labels and blah, blah, blah. But like, at the end of the day, Drake is still going to be Drake. Nokia is going crazy right now. Give Me a Hug is going crazy right now. Drake will always be able to Drake. But the effect of Not Like Us, I don't think, regardless of how this goes down, whether he wins or he loses, I don't think that this is going to change it. If he loses this whole back and forth and there's nothing found and, you know what I mean, he just has to let it go, it makes him look like the whiny baby who was upset that, I don't know, you came back to your seat at the birthday party and you couldn't sit back down next to your best friend. I don't know if that was a good analogy. I tried to go somewhere with that. Y'all get what I'm saying, though? Like, he looks like a crybaby if this goes nowhere, because it's like, yo, you did all of that. You did all of that for what? If he wins this, it's like, okay, cool. That's messed up. I mean, this is how I feel. Y'all let me know how y'all feel. Tweet me at Loren LoRosa, Instagram at Loren LoRosa. Y'all let me know how y'all feel. If Drake finds what he's looking for, right? And that is put on Front Street. Okay, here's everything that we found. Here's all the wrongdoing. Here's all of they use their big machine to back me into a corner. If that happens and he finds all of that, does that change your perspective of him after Not Like Us? Because to me, I don't think it does. I think it'll be a quiet victory win that some attorneys for some artists somewhere will use as a landmark case and move on. It won't even be loud about it because it won't matter, because you just want to go to court and do what you're going to do. When I say landmark case, I mean that's something that, like, you know, the attorneys refer back to when they're trying to make a point for their client in similar situations. So y'all let me know, okay? Y'all let me know. We were supposed to do a whole nother, how long was that? Where we at time-wise? 20 minutes. Taylor is going to kill me. Okay? We were supposed to do a whole nother thing because Young Thug is in trouble now. I'll do it real quick. Okay. Young Thug. So y'all remember yesterday, y'all remember on the last episode, we talked about Young Scooter. We talked about that 911 call. And just a lot of things that were happening with Young Scooter, who was the rapper that passed away in Atlanta while fleeing from police. Now, there was a whole nother issue happening at that same time with Young Scooter, because Young Thug got on Twitter. He tweeted that Young Scooter autopsy came out and that he was shot. Young Thug also tweeted out a woman who works in the DA's office and said that basically she was like the biggest liar in the DA's office. And this must, I think Young Thug's whole point was like, there's some corruption here, but the way he went about it is not faring well for him. He did end up having to delete the tweet, especially because the Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office came out and again stood on business with what their autopsy really was, stating that rapper Young Scooter passed away because of a leg injury while trying to get away from police. But now, prosecutors with the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, they're like not happy about Young Thug's postings. They filed a motion to actually revoke his probation. Now here's what they say in the document. They say, since sentencing, the defendant has engaged in conduct that threatens the safety of witnesses and prosecutors, compromises ongoing legal proceedings, and warrants immediate revoke and I can't read. It warrants immediate revoking of his probation. The motion continues to say that the integrity of this court and the safety of those involved in the prosecution are at stake. So you guys know that because he was going through it himself with the DA's offices and all that. If I was Thug, I wouldn't be tweeting a dang thing. I would put it in the group chat. You're not gonna get me publicly speaking about nothing that goes against no court, no judge. If y'all have not learned anything at this point from watching all these cases or anything you might be involved in yourself, the court is all about like empathy and respect for the court. Like that is like the biggest thing. Like judges do not play that. Like that's literally like, that's their main thing. Now, if something's wrong and you calling it out, it's like, cool. Because due process and fairness and like, that's the point of being in court, is feeling like you have a fair fight. But baby, they don't fare well with disrespect at all. Like not at all. Now, what they're referring to in this when they say that, prosecutors and people that were put at stake is a tweet. I want to read you guys the actual tweet from Thug. So Thug tweeted out, all right. So the woman, her name is Marissa Viverito. So this woman, this week, because it's so much going on in the court. So at this same week, there's the whole court process happening for the 7 men who were arrested in Atlanta. And apparently these men, allegedly were somewhat tied to 4PF. And then remember, there have been those reports of this whole like arrest warrant that was supposed to come down for Little Baby. I am told that is still coming. I am not told that is not something that is not going to happen. And I did see reports this week of, what I've already known. But she took the stand as a part of a preliminary hearing to determine if the 7 men that were charged in the shooting deaths of those 2 13-year-old boys in Atlanta will go to trial or not. So at the time that this is happening, Thug posts her photo and says that she is the biggest liar in the DA office. Now it's like you over here calling out the police, basically saying that alleging that the police shot young Scooter, because that was original reports and the police came out and cleared that up. And then Thug gets back on Twitter, calls this woman a liar, who is a person that works in the DA's office. And after that happened, apparently she received like threats online. Her address, her personal contact information was leaked. Family members' personal contact information was leaked. It put her in harm's way, is what the prosecutor's office is basically saying. So now Thug gets online and he tweets in response, basically saying that he doesn't condone threats toward anyone. He's a good person, blah, blah, blah. I don't know why Thug tweeted this lady out. Like, I think a lot of us are still trying to figure it out. It's like, why? Like, when I say I wouldn't want nothing to do with nothing, honestly, take his whole account. If I'm Mariah the scientist, please take this man's account. If you want your man home, girl, deactivate that Twitter, because it's just causing too much. Now, I don't know if something like this will actually cause for a judge to be like, you know what? Yep. Probation revoked, because he's obviously been keeping up on all of the other things. But what they're going to claim is that one of the things, you can't bring harm and danger to people, especially not somebody in the DA's office. You're on probation. You're low key still in custody of the DA's office or of the state because you are on probation. There's just things that you got to abide by. And if I was him, I would leave it alone. So that's that. We got to wrap up now, y'all. The time be so short. I be having so much fun, and then it be time to be over. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. This is episode 4 of the latest with Loren LoRosa. Please share, talk about this online. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Y'all know I'm the homegirl that knows a little bit about everything and everybody. And at the end of the day, I always tell you guys this because I appreciate it so much. There are so many places and so many people that you guys could be listening to. There's so much going on, and you're always right here with me to do it. I love y'all for that. I'm signing out. I will see you guys in my next episode.